Well, hello there, Retro PC Durham. It's Chris here with another system. A little bit something different here. So, as part of getting people to donate me their old computer parts, so I can rebuild them as reusable, quote unquote, modern machines, I often get a lot of old systems. We'll say like Windows XP era type machines, and unfortunately, a lot of them are in this condition where, because of their age, they can't run Windows 10, and that means they're kind of ineligible for the purpose that I have in mind for these systems. So we have a lot of Pentium 4 systems that I get, and I just can't really do much with them. They don't really work out well to make a Retro XP gaming machine because, to be honest, the more powerful processors for a Retro XP gaming machine will run Windows 10, and that's what they end up getting used for my purposes. So these older Prescott and older Pentium 4 single core, single thread, no functionality, even up to 3 gigahertz performance. They're not great for gaming, so they're not really great for those purposes. The other thing is pairing them with a video card that can handle some XP gaming. I usually end up using those cards in a Windows 10 machine as well. So what ends up happening is I've got these older machines that really aren't going to get used for much of anything, but I still have the system boards around just in case. And just so happens that I had a reason for it. So a gentleman contacted me a short while ago and was asking, hey, do you have old PCs? I've got a CNC, he's got a CNC machine that I guess the software to connect to it only runs on Windows 98. So he needs an older machine that can still run Windows 98 properly and has the correct ports, in this case some serial ports, to be able to plug into it. So I said, hey, you know what, I can probably put something together for you, and that's just what we did here. And let me tell you, this was quite an experience. So first thing, I had this old case, which I thought was appropriate to use for this system, based on the fact that it's got this beautiful Internet Explorer logo built onto the side panels. This is just, what a glorious thing. What a glorious thing to have. But I got this, this old case here, pretty simple design, floppy disk drive in the front, power reset switch. The little plug for the reset switch is broken off, so you'd have to like reach in with a pen to use it. And then we've got 2 USB ports on the front. You see the old Pentium 4 logo there. And then on the top part here, we've got a DVD drive in there as well. Flip around to the back here, and we've got the power supply, an ATX power supply here, and then motherboard here, standard layout here for a system of this era, PS2 connections, some USB ports, and integrated 100 megabit Ethernet, parallel game port and AC97 audio, integrated video card. It's got an integrated SIS, shared video, cheap video card on board, and then a single serial port. So this wasn't actually the original system board that I intended to go with this system. I've tried a couple other ones. The first one I tried was this AOpen board, this AX4BS-V, and the reason why I wanted to use this one was, one, it's full SD RAM. The guy had asked for 500 meg of RAM, and this would let me get up to 768 with the chips that I have. Plus, it had 2 serial ports, which I thought would be kind of helpful. And then it didn't have onboard graphics, so I would be able to use an AGP card and get a little better, maybe a little bit better graphic quality for him. The problem I had with this, number one, was I couldn't find any Windows 98 drivers for the system board, for the chipset, as well as for the audio adapter. I just couldn't find this right stuff to run. And then while in the process of operating this system, the video card and 3 different video cards I tried in this were having IRQ errors with the BIOS IRQ, and I couldn't figure out, and the Windows wouldn't let me like change the settings. So that was a real pain in the butt. So I ended up saying, no, I can't use this one, and we just had to let it go. The second system board I tried out was this one here, right? This Elite Group, or ECS, P4VXA SD Plus, SD2 Plus. So I thought this one's going to be, could work out well too. As you can see, it's the same kind of layout, right? 2 serial ports, no onboard graphics, so I can use an AGP graphics card. This one was going to be great too because it didn't have 12 volt power. It was just the 120 pin power. So I would be able to use one of the other older power supplies that I have that doesn't have that extra plug on it, which, want to use those older ones up there. Plus, it had both DDR and SD RAM slots, so I could, again, use some older SD RAM that I have and get 512 meg SD RAM on this one to be able to meet those requirements. The problem was, this one I had, again, 2 problems. One, the lack of driver support. For some reason, I couldn't get a working version of the VT8235 drivers for this chipset here, which I think is the I/O chipset. And then I couldn't get, I can't remember which graphics or which the Northbridge or whatever chipset was on here. I couldn't get this one running either. So I had all these problems with getting driver support on this one. And then it started throwing a bunch of weird stack overflow errors on the system. So I'd reloaded like 2 or 3 times and I got the same error every time. So I'm thinking, wow, there's got to be something else that's going wrong on this one. Oh, the other piece, there's one other problem with this one. The power pinout for fan, which is located right beside the processor, doesn't work. So I had this taken off and put it back down upside down, but I had to plug this in down here on the system fan to be able to cool the processor. So it was really janky as a result, and just wasn't working out the way I needed it to. So that one had to go down the drain as well. So let's open up the system, and I'll actually show what we ended up putting in, into the box here to be able to meet our requirements. All right, so here we are. We ended up being able to use this 8S651M-RZ system board, and I can't remember for the life of me where did I get this was from. Was this from Acer as well? I can't remember. We ended up using this system board, which gave us able to use the same. This is a Pentium 4 1.6 gigahertz processor that I put in here. This is the second slowest socket 478 processor that I have on hand right now. I didn't want to use the Celeron D that I have on this particular build. I wanted to just go like maximum stability out the door for this one. So I did this 1.6 gigahertz single socket, single thread. It uses DDR memory instead of SD RAM, so we have 512 megabytes of DDR1. It has onboard graphics, which I think is the 962L chip that's over here. But it's got onboard graphics in that shared graphics memory with this. From 4 meg, I think, up to 64 meg. I set it to 16 meg just to give it okay graphics for running Windows 98. There's not going to be any gaming running on this or anything like that, so that shouldn't be an issue. But it had everything else that we needed. Used the standard power connections here. Used both IDE controllers, one for the Samsung 40 gig hard drive we're using, and then one for that DVD drive up top, and then our floppy controller that goes to our 1.4 megabyte floppy disk drive. Not using any of these ports here again. We're using the onboard video when we didn't have any need for any additional pieces on this one. On the other 2 boards I had, one of the other 2 boards I had tried to install a NIC card, and it was having some driver issues. Both this board and the other board that had the integrated Ethernet, that wasn't a problem on either of those. I don't think that he needed any network connectivity at all, but I just wanted to make sure if the system's going to be loaded up, it's going to have everything working. So there's no weird errors being thrown out when he's booting up the system. So anyways, that's that's how we kind of put the system together. I tried to cable manage as best I could with the paneling, so we kind of move stuff behind the back walls here before putting the panel on, so things are relatively open to allow some decent airflow inside the system. Power supply here is a light-on power supply. It's a 250 watt ATX power supply, so good quality power supply is going to do everything they need to do, and it's in good shape in terms of cleanliness, no whistling or whining or anything like that. All the caps are in good shape on these ones. Actually, going through the process of putting this together, on top of the two boards that I tried that didn't work, and this one I also threw out or put into the e-waste bin, two boards that they had bad caps. One of them was like really bad shape, and the other one they were kind of bulging. And I'm not at the point yet where I have a strong desire to recap socket 478 boards. They're not, to be honest, these aren't really usable for a heck of a lot, right? Yeah, that's basically where we're at with this one. So let's close it back up. We'll get her powered up and talk a little bit about Windows 98. Okay, so to plug into this one, I got this old compact PS2 keyboard here. You can take a look at the model number there. I don't know if the part number is a 247429-101, 247431-101 thing here. This compact keyboard. When I got this up, it was absolutely filthy and like really badly yellowed. And I've left this out in the Canadian spring for a couple times to try and get some of the yellowing to go away. And it's gone down quite a bit actually from what it was when I first brought it in. So nice clicky PS2 keyboard here to use with an older machine. And I just so happen to as well from a previous pickup have this old compact ball mouse PS2 as well. So I thought might as well make use of it in this system. Plus, I needed PS2 devices for doing a Windows 98 install because Windows 98 natively has pretty crappy USB support, and you need to be able to do, at least get yourself started up with doing installations before you can start plugging in USB devices. And I do have the drivers, the universal USB driver that I got from Phil's computer room. It's just a matter of getting that all up and running. All right, let's get the screen set up here, and we'll get the system booted up. Okay, let's start up the system here and see what happens. There's the old Windows 98 logo. Now let me tell you about Windows 98. A couple weeks back we did the Windows 2000 install on the ThinkPad A31P, and went down that memory lane trip, that nostalgia, pangs of nostalgia of Windows 2000. An operating system that I had a lot of good feelings, good times using, and I had forgotten why I had such good feelings about Windows 2000. And then going through the process of installing and getting a Windows 98 SE machine set up brought all of those memories back. I can tell you, I may be one of the few people, but I am one of the people that absolutely does not miss Windows 9X at all. 95, 98, 98 SE, and of course Windows Millennium Edition. I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan of the jankiness, the system resource issues, IRQ conflicts coming out of the wazoo, driver errors, installing one bad set of drivers and ruining an entire Windows install and having to start over multiple times. I remembered all of those things coming back to me because I experienced all of those things setting up this machine, going over, of course, 3 motherboards worth of installations. But I've probably, over the course of the last week while I was building this machine out, loaded Windows 98 onto this system about 9 times. And it was just so frustrating. Anyways, we got to a place where we finally were able to do this. So here we are with Windows 98 up and running, working properly, no issues, no errors, right? Running. Now it says Microsoft Windows Me on here, and I believe that may be because I installed 1 or 2 like system updates, and for some reason that changed this to something other than Windows 98 SE, even though this isn't Windows Me running on the system. It is Windows 98. We've got the Pentium 4 processor, 496 megabytes of RAM are showing up because I've allocated 16 megabytes of RAM to the video card. And then when we take a look at the device manager, no errors at all, so that's great. This SIS 650 underscore 651 underscore M650 whatever. The SIS shared video card working fine. It's using a generic IDE disk information, not qualifying specifically as the Samsung hard drive. The network adapter that's working on here, which is part of the SIS chipset, this PCI 900 fast Ethernet adapter working properly. The Realtek EC97 audio that's running on the SIS chipset working perfectly. And then, of course, the USB hubs here, 7001 and 7002 USB host controllers are working properly for the front and rear USB ports. So everything working properly on the system. It's great. This is exactly what I wanted to be able to do. We don't have any extra stuff, garbage installed on here. I didn't install all of the different features for Windows 98. I went for a reasonable install, so the accessibility tools are in there. Basic communications for direct cable connection and networking connectivity. Again, I wasn't sure if they needed network connectivity, and I wasn't sure how the CNC machine that they're going to be using talks over the serial port, so I didn't know if direct cable connection was going to be required, so I included it anyway. I left the games on there just in case, and then the system tools on there. So that's it. Again, as I mentioned, I don't have any strong feelings or emotions around Windows 95, 98, 98 SE, and Windows Me. They were fine operating systems, but for me, the amount of challenge there was with getting a system up and running properly and dealing with a lot of the issues with them, especially when you're not dealing with custom, perfect picked compatibility hardware for the time, like just having to work with random motherboards and random old video cards, really made it challenging, which I remember from Windows 2000 distinctly. While there obviously were still continued challenges, the amount of stability and control that you had moving to that NT-based system was like night and day. And yeah, you lost a lot of the functionality for older gaming capability, and that was something that you kind of had to let go of moving forward. But anyways, we got the system up and running. Hopefully the guy's going to get back to me on Monday or Tuesday and let me know if he can come pick it up, and then hopefully he'll be able to get that up and running and get his CNC machine working and cut whatever stuff he needs to be cutting. Yeah, so that's it. Hope you guys enjoyed taking a look at this one. This little stroll again down memory lane. It got me to thinking, though. I think I will, maybe next time I've got some free time here, I may maybe try putting together a Windows 98 machine and maybe try some old Windows 98 gaming. It's been many a year since I played Shadow Warrior, so maybe want to try that out and do a Shadow Warrior playthrough. Which I need, you need to have an old Windows 9X machine to be able to do that. And I want to have the old, video card and sound card that are going to be supporting the quality that you need to. Of course, AC97 audio doesn't work very well for that kind of stuff. So anyways, we're going to take a look at that sometime down the road. Hope you enjoyed this one. Love to hear your comments down below about these old operating systems and old computing environments. In the meantime, I hope you are staying safe and staying healthy. And of course, we will catch you in the next one.